Okay, a very good morning, and I'm sure as we are waking up, this is a breaking news coming from Koikimedia, just as it's breaking from around the world as well. Today is the 30th day of the month of August, and it seems that if what everyone has been watching, that is, if you have been following the news coming out of Gabon, it seems that we have another coup that have just hit Gabon. Mokibugwa, this is a breaking news. Like I said, Koikimedia bringing the world closer to your doorstep. I'll be giving you everything we need to know and all the information pertaining to Gabon. As a lot of us were sleeping, some of us were monitoring things around the world, and I can now confirm that information coming out of Gabon this morning indicate that there is another coup. What do we know? I'll be telling you everything we need to know, so I want you to sit back and let us enjoy this special broadcast coming out of Koikimedia, bringing the world closer to our doorsteps. As we all know, there was a coup in July in Niger. There is another coup as we speak right now as well, going on, still very fresh, and that literally means that there is a lot of happenings in the other side of the continent. First and foremost, let me just remind us, for the benefit of many of us that follow us on this platform, this is the world that is changing very fast. And like I always say, only ni oríṣiríṣi nǹkan máa máa ṣẹlẹ̀. Don't be surprised. It is just that the world is changing. It is not the world that we know some few years back. We are now living in a different world. But let us start with this reminder that coup has been going on in Africa for a very long time. Nigeria experienced a lot of coup. Even the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, was a coup plotter. So what we are witnessing today should not be a surprise to some of us. But what we can say is that it seems that some people are still also planning coups. Where is it going to happen? Niboloti Mashele is what we don't know. But before we go into what is going on in Gabon, let's maybe watch this to just give us some of the background of coups that we've heard about around March. Bear with us as we are working to bring you so many development, and these developments are coming very, very fast. Once again, my name is Olayomi Koiki, and this is Koikimedia, bringing the world closer to our doorsteps. The last coup that we know of that is still fresh in the minds of many of us is Niger, where ECOWAS are planning to invade Niger. It seems that ECOWAS is going to be very, very busy because there is now another coup that have already and is already circulating around the world. I'm going to tell you everything we need to know, but bear with me. It seems that we can't find our one of the videos that I would have loved to share with us. We might come back to that after, but maybe for now, let us come out of that and let us tell you more about Gabon. Ẹlòmíì ò mọ ìlú tó ń pè ní Gabon. Gbogbo ẹ̀ náà la máa mọ̀ láàárọ̀ yìí. Apá bo gangan ni Gabon wà. All this is important, and like I said, you're lucky to have a media like ours that can also try to break things down to your own understanding. Fẹ̀yìntì ẹ wà ní ilé àtẹ̀yìntì ẹ ń bẹ ní ìta. So what we're going to start with, as I say, is a good morning to many of you that have joined us, and welcome to the live transmission. In the 30th of August 2023. Remember to support the channel, because it is the only way you can get the best of information when it comes to international news and when it comes to what is going on, especially with Yoruba Nation, Biafra, and the rest of the world, as many people are asking for freedom. So we're going to start swiftly, because there's a lot to discuss and there's a lot on the table. We will not be the first country, Gabon will not be the first country to be where there's going to be a coup. But apá bogongo ni Gabon wà ní Africa. Kí ni a mọ̀ nípa wọn? Let's first and foremost quickly give you some kind of background to Gabon, so that you can also have exclusive debate in sọ̀rọ̀ níta, kele sọ̀rọ̀ with fact, so that in case you are also going to be speaking to your friends and colleagues, ẹ lè fún wọn ní the authentic information, which is why we are here for every single one of you. Like I said, bear with us. We're working round the clock on this platform, and we also would like to say, those of you that keep supporting the platform, do not hesitate. Every little helps. It's also part of what keeps us going. So now, let me start telling you a little bit more about Gabon. Bear with us. We still have a couple of our platforms that is not ready yet. So, and we want to carry as many people into the conversation. But what we can tell you so far is that there is a coup, and that coup is already live. So that is the most important thing you need to know, that there is a coup, and the coup is live as we speak right now. Mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí níbi tí ẹ ti ń gbọ́ wa, tí ẹ dẹ̀ ti ń wò wá. Kí la mọ̀ nípa Gabon? Àti pé ìlú wo ló ń pè bẹ́ẹ̀? Gabon is a country in Central Africa. Just like so many other African countries. Òun náà wọ́n colonize ẹni. So that again is just for us to know. So as I said, we are working extremely hard for our viewers and audience around the world. Once again, this is Koikimedia. It's a breaking news, as it's still breaking, and I'll be telling you everything we need to know and everything that needs to be known as well. Is this good for Africa? Is this good for the world? Why is there another coup? Gabon coup is taking place as I speak to you right now, and many international and many people are waking up this morning just to find out that there is another coup in Africa, as we know. So once again, there is a lot happening, and those happenings means that myself and you must be up to date. And this is why we are here, to give it to you so that you can also be able to understand the situation. So let's go straight to Gabon. Gabon, a country along the Atlantic coast of Central Africa. Nigeria is in West Africa, so that you have an idea. Niger is in West Africa, but Gabon is in Central Africa. It has significant areas of protected parkland, the forester, coastal terrain of its farmed lagoon. It also have a national park shelter, a diversity of wildlife from gorillas and hippos to whales. Lopel National Park consists of mostly rainforest. Akanda National Park is known for its mango groves and tidal beach. Once again, this is a breaking news that is coming out of Gabon. There is another coup where soldiers have now seized the power and they've cancelled the election. Gabon has a population of 2.3 million, according to the World Bank as at 2021. Their gross domestic product, which is also known as GDP, can be calculated as 20 billion US dollars as at 2021 again. Once again, these are all the latest development that is coming out of Gabon, and I'll be telling you everything that you need to know when it comes to the country called Gabon. So let's go into it. Before we go into the real story of what is developing and what is happening in Gabon, it is important that we have a background understanding of Gabon. Once again, my name is OLAMILEKAN. This is Koikimedia Live. You're watching a live transmission, and those of you that are listening on the Twitter space and on the MixLR, we welcome each and every one of you. If you're just waking up in any part of the world, if you're just going to bed, I can confirm now that there is another coup that have just taken place inside Gabon, the Central Africa. That is a discussion this morning, and there's a lot of people around the world that will be waking up. So let me give us some more background about how did Gabon also became an independent country, and how and what do we know when it comes to Gabon as well in terms of a country. If you're watching me right now, you're already listening to the breaking news coming out of that Central Africa. Once again, there is another military coup that is taking place as we speak to you right now. My name is OLAMILEKAN, and you're watching and listening to us wherever you are across the globe. Now, let's go into it a little bit. What do we know? Gabon, according to Wikipedia, is a French pronunciation called Gabo or Sangou. Officially, the Gabonese, as we know them, the Gabonese, as we know them, the Gabonese, as we know them, Republic is a French Republic Gabonaise, is a country on the west coast of Central Africa, located on the equator. It's bordered by Equatorial Guinea to the northwest, Cameroon to the north, Republic of Congo on the east and the south, and the Gulf of Guinea to the west. It has an area of nearly 270,000 square kilometers, and its population is estimated at about 2.3 million people. That is those living in Gabon. Once again, you are watching and listening to the latest coup that have just come out of Gabon, where the election has now been cancelled and the soldiers have literally taken over the country. My name again is OLAMILEKAN. This is the breaking news, and we're giving you a bit of background to Gabon for the benefit of those of you that would love to know. So let's continue with that conversation. Once again, what do we know? There are coastal plains, mountains, the Crystal Mountains and the Chalou Massive in the center, and a savanna in the east. The largest city as well as the capital is Libreville. Gabon, originally inhabited are the Pygmy peoples, beginning in the 14th century. Bantu migrants began settling in the area as well. Since its independence from France in August 1960, just about few months before Nigeria got its own independence from Britain. Remember that the colonial rule took over most of African country. They divided Africa to their own taste. Everybody took different side of Africa. France took Gabon, while Britain took what is known as Nigeria. Africa has been marginalized for a very long time. France gave independence to Gabon in August 1960, just as Britain gave us our own independence as well on October 1st, 1960. The sovereign state of Gabon has had 3 presidents. From the information which I'm going to be sharing with us, it seems that a particular family has controlled power for a very long time. All that we're going to find out later on in the course of this program. Once again, if you like to support the media that we are running from, which is Koikimedia, you can do so by supporting us voluntarily through whatever means that you can. You can go on our website, www.koikimedia.com, and all the details on how you can support are all in there. Also remember, we're live on Twitter Space, we're live on the MixLR, we are live on YouTube, we are live on Twitter on its own, we are live on the 2 Instagram, and as I said, independent media like ours needs as many of your support so that we can be able to reach many more and also give you a different perspective away from the mainstream media that will tell you exactly what you might not be pleased to be hearing. Let's go back again to Gabon. Now that we know that Gabon had their independence from France in 1960, they've had 3 presidents since then. In the 90s, it introduced a multi-party system. And the reason why you have to get this background is because if I go straight into the coup, nobody knows what is Gabon. Nobody has a background. So it is important that we start with the history, the background of Gabon, so that it can help you when you are speaking with your colleagues or friends, or you are having discussion as well. It's going to be of benefit to you, so that at least now you can tell anybody that, wow, I know that Gabon got their independence just 2 months, because we are still in August. So September, October, so it's 2 months before Nigeria got independent. Gabon had their independence before our own. Let's go back. They also have in the 90s what they called multi-party system and a democratic constitution that aimed for a more transparent electoral process and a reform from governmental institutions. Despite these, the Gabonese Democratic Party, PDG, almost like PDP, but this one is called PDG, remains the dominant party. The official language, again, is French. They've removed our main African language, and just like Britain gave us English, that is the same thing in Gabon. Gabon is speaking French rather than speaking their own language. Remember, the colonial era destroyed Africa for their own selfish gain, just like France, Britain, German, Netherlands, all these colonial took different part of Africa for their own selfish interest. But today, it seems Africa is waking up, and the breaking news coming out this morning indicate that there is now another coup in Gabon. Let's continue. Their official language is French, but Bantu ethnic groups constitute around 95% of the country's population, just like we have 351 different ethnic groups in Nigeria. We have the Igbos, the Hausas, the Yorubas, the Kanoris. We have different ones, but we also know that we have the three major ethnic groups, which is Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. Their population also is 95% of Bantu ethnic groups. Christianity is the most widespread religion. We know all the background when it comes to Christianity. This was what the foreign colonial did by bringing us religion and taking away our own traditional religion. So it's not just in Nigeria. You are now hearing that the same thing is happening in Gabon. They have a lot of Christians, practiced by 75% of the population. They also have what they call with petroleum and foreign private investment. It has the fourth highest HID. Let's find the meaning of the HID, or sorry, HDI. So, from what we are told, the Human Development Index, HDI, is a statistics composite index of life expectancy. In Nigeria, your life expectancy, like I told you yesterday, is 53. In South Korea is 83. But from what we have been told, Gabon has the fourth highest Human Development Index. It's a statistics composite index of life expectancy, education, and per capita income indicators, which is used to rank countries into four tiers of human development. A country scores a high level of HDI when the lifespan is higher in education and is also higher in, let's just read this, and is also higher when it comes to income indicators, which is used to rank countries into four. A country scores a higher level of human development index when the lifespan is higher in education, level is higher, and gross national income. So let's go back again to Gabon as a country. All these that we're telling you is almost the same problem that all African countries is going through. Let's continue. Also, in the region after Mauritius, Seychelles, and South Africa, I know that Nigerians are not allowed to go to Seychelles anymore. Our passport does not make any impact in our lives. South Africa, you need to get a visa. As Nigerians, you're not likely to get a visa because Nigeria, as we know, is not a country respected anymore in African eye. And the fifth highest GDP per capita in all of Africa after Seychelles, Mauritius, Equatorial Guinea, and Botswana. Its GDP grew by more than 6% from 2010 to 2012. Now let's go to a bit of history of Gabon. Pygmy peoples, according to Wikipedia, the African pygmies or Congo pygmies, variously also Central African foragers, African rainforest hunters, gatherers, or forest people of Central Africa are a group of ethnicities. Remember, we all have different ethnics, but the West, during the colonial era, forced every African to live together when we could be different countries like we have Norway, Denmark. All these countries are not special as Africans as well. But unfortunately, we have been told lies for a very long time that we must remain in this enclaves continent because it is too big to be divided. It's a lie. Africa can be divided to many countries and the world will contain every one of us. But unfortunately, as we know in Nigeria today, why some of us are agitating for the right to self-determination, some are saying, why do we want to break away from Nigeria when countries that are smaller in European countries are operating on their own? Now we have a bit of understanding of that the same Gabon also have what they call ethnic people. Let's go further. Pygmy peoples in the area were largely replaced and absorbed by the Bantu tribes, just as we are talking about the Fulanis that were not officially part of Nigeria, but they've now been able, craftily, been able to destroy many other ethnic people within the enclaves called Nigeria. We know that the Fulanis have marginalized and they've taken over from the north. They've destroyed everything called Hausa, and we have evidence based to that. There's nothing called Hausa anymore. It has now been taken away. Most of the governors in the north, not every one of them, but most of them are not real Hausas. They are Fulanis. They've already taken over the northern part of Nigeria. Their next phase is to take over the southwest, the middle belt, and the southeast. And we must stop that before it gets to us. Let's continue. So we know that the Bantu tribes, as they migrated, I'll take that again. The Pygmy peoples in the area were largely replaced and absorbed by the Bantu tribes. Remember at the beginning there, I told you that the Bantu, maybe even the president that has been there for a very long time is from that tribe. And that is why they don't want to leave power. Just like we know that the Fulanis wants to marginalize the remaining two major ethnic groups. Even the Hausas, I wouldn't even say the two, because Hausa also is one of the biggest ethnic groups, in Nigeria. By the 18th century, a Mayan-speaking kingdom known as the Kingdom of Orugun formed as a trading center with the ability to purchase and sell slaves. You can see that selling slaves is not just only in Nigeria, it also took place in Gabon from this information that we are sharing with you this morning. And the fall with the demise of the slave trade in 1870s. Explorer Pere Savogona de Brazil, remember we have so many of them like that, that kept on exploring. This particular name, Pere Paul Franco Camel Sagazona de Brazil, was an Italian-French explorer. We have the same person, not the same person, we have similar like that, that were, the Portuguese exploring the Jebus. Remember, Baba Bakintoye told us that during the 1500s. These guys were moving around looking for what was not lost, but eventually they got what was not lost because they took Africa away from the real indigenous people. He was an Italian and a French explorer. With his family's financial help, he was able to explore the Ogu region of Central Africa. And later, with the backing of the socialite, the Geographica de Paris, he reached far into the interior along the right bank. But today, when we say support us, people say, no, I'm not going to support Koikimedia because I don't like it. But when you support us, we can also reach more part of Africa and let our message drive to them that we are all one, but we must free ourselves from the shackles and the bondage of the West. Yes, I live in the West, but you guys are living in bondage. I am not yet living in bondage because I still have a bit of right, which most of you in African countries don't have. And if they're telling you that we cannot break Africa to many countries, tell them it's all lies. Africa can be divided into multiple countries. The world is big enough to contain every one of us, but the West do not want such. Let's continue. I'm still giving you the background, but the most reason why we are out today, let me just give you some of the highlight there. You can see from Sky News, I'm sure those are the ones that you believe. Military announced coup in Gabon as senior officers seize power after presidential election. Let me give you some of the other highlights as well, but we are still going to talk more about Gabon so that you can be equipped with knowledge that you don't have before today. You don't have to know it because since we are not from Gabon, but as you can see all the headline, an hour ago, the Guardian, Gabon military officer declare coup after Ali Bongo wins a disputed election. Again, Al Jazeera, remember when you see Al Jazeera is funded by Qatar government. So when we tell you to fund us, support our media, give us money, so that we can expand. We can have many teams around, especially in Nigeria, to report the dailies. We need reporter even in the southeast. We need reporter in the north if possible. And we need reporter to be able to work with us. But we must also be ready to support them one way or the other. But unfortunately, many of you do not want to support because you're waiting for the West. You're waiting for the New York Times. You're waiting for BBC. BBC, that is one of the most biased corporations in the world. You are waiting for them to come and tell you, if you do not fund media, you will be listening to people that will give you a different narrative. Again, Al Jazeera, Gabon military officer claim power, say election lack credibility. According to Politico EU, military officers in Gabon claim they have taken power 34 minutes ago. Again, BBC, that's the one every Nigerian believe. They rather, stick to BBC than stick to the alternative media like ours. BBC, army officers say they are taking power in Gabon. The Independent, gunfire heard in Gabon capital as military says it has now seized power in a coup. Sky News, I told you that already. France 24, Gabonese soldiers suspend election, close the borders after Bongo victory announced. Vanguard, Gabon soldiers ouster Ali Bongo says election result cancelled and the regime have now ended. African News, Gabon, military men announced cancellation of elections and they have now dissolved the institution. I'll be telling you everything we need to know regarding that, but I'm still giving you background history to Gabon itself as a country that was colonized, just like Nigeria was colonized, and they disturbed our spirit souls. Most of us today do not even understand that our souls is what was tampered with by those called colonial era. They disturbed who we are. They took people away from their own territory, took them in the ocean, dumped them in the river. Some of them were used for slaves, never paid. They took over our territory, removed our resources, took away our language, gave us a different language, took away our tradition, gave us a different religion, took away our food, gave us their own food, gave us their own prayers, told us that we must not respect and love our own tradition. These are what is fueling the movement to self-determination and freedom today. France cannot determine how our life must be run. Britain cannot do the same thing. US cannot do the same thing. Germany, China, India, not even Russia. We are also Africans, but in that Africa, we have different ethnic groups that they met. But in 1884, if I'm right, they decided to sell out and took every part of what they believe they own. Congo was taken. Benin Republic is taken. Nigeria was taken. But today, there is another coup, and that means ECOWAS has a lot of work to do. I don't know how they're going to solve all this problem. African Union, probably maybe it's time everything is going to dissolve, and we have to start afresh with new nations that will now determine their way forward. Let's continue quickly again. Once again, this is Koikimedia, your live. It's exactly 8:01. This development, I've been watching it when the news broke out, but we want to be sure before we come out live, because we don't want to come out and give you a false news. Now that we know that the news is already out there, we are also sharing that with so many of you. Again, remember, support us, fund our media. It will be of benefit to not just you, but to humanity. It does not matter how small, how big. Remember that Al Jazeera, all these big channels that you're seeing, most of them have been funded, and they will tell you that they are not being funded. But we know that they are being funded, especially when they are funded by government. And if you don't know, I will be telling you as many things that you don't know when you are live with us. Let's go back again. In 1910, just 4 years before the fraudulent, fake, most disturbed history in Nigeria today, which was called the 1914 amalgamation. So they had something similar as well. Let's look at it. According to what we know, in 1910, Gabon, can you imagine? Gabon became a territory of French Equatorial Africa. Another fraud that took place. Now, I think I've gone too far. Explorer Pierre Savogon led his first mission to Gabon. I think I need to go back one step. Led his first mission to Gabon, Congo area in 1875. Today, a lot of us are too scared. We don't want to do exploration. We don't want to dive into self-determination because we are thinking that we might be killed, we might be spit out, we might be cursed. At the end of the day, when these young people were traveling and exploring our continent, they don't care whether mosquito was going to bite them, whether they were going to die. They are now part of the history that we are talking today. Are you going to line along with the history, or are you just going to sit behind the fence and see men, real men, coming out and saying enough is enough in Africa? We are not saying that we want to carry weapons and fight, but we are saying that we will defend our territory, even if it means with our blood. But some of you are not real men. You come out and try to spit into those that are real men. The real men like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the real men like Chief Dr. Sunday Igboho, the real men like the government in exile of the Biafra Simon Ekpa, the real men like Professor Adebanji Akintoye, the real men that are out there in that part of Africa, wherever they are, and they are saying enough is enough. We must take back what belongs to us. Are you going to be part of the real men? Are you going to be part of the real women? Which side are you going to be? Are you going to be inside your house, like we had one of our media in Nigeria saying, when IGBOHO was going to Igogon, he locked his door, asked his wife to cook for him. Those are not real men. These are puppets to the West. But yet, majority of you will go and listen to them. IGBOHO is a real man. Nnamdi Kanu is a real man. Kidnap, rendition. And if you don't know, yesterday news was a blessing for me. I will not beg Bola Tinubu, just like we have told IGBOHO. He has no reason to beg Bola Tinubu. He hasn't committed any crime. He hasn't committed any offense under the fraudulent Nigerian constitution. Let's go ahead. As we know, Explorer, Pera, or whatever it's called, all this bastard that went to Africa and destroyed who we are today. Pierre Savogona de Brazil, I've told you who the guy is. He's an explorer. Led his first mission to Gabon, Congo area in 1875. Imagine, he founded the town of Franceville. Just like Lugard found Lokoja, as if they own it, because he loved Lokoja more than the other part until he moved again. And he was later colonial governor, just like Lugard. Some bastard, some idiot are out there now. Let's save Nigeria. What part of Nigeria do you want to save that you don't understand? The West colonized us. The West disturbed our mental psyche. The West took some of the souls away from that continent, dropped them in the ocean for fish to eat. Some of them died during the slave trade. Those souls will never forgive us if we do not take back that territory from them. Whether it's going to be done in a way that there will not be bloodshed, I don't know. But all I can say is that we must all prepare our mind that whatever coup is happening today, maybe some spirit are driving around because the spirit in Nigeria is not yet ready. Maybe Gabon is more readier than us. Maybe Niger is more prepared than us. But I know that some of us are prepared. It's just that we need many of you to come onto the same conversation with us. Forget about the election in Nigeria. It is too late to save election. Election cannot solve the problem. Let everybody come on the round table and do a velvet divorce, and there will not be any reason for a bloodshed. If that doesn't happen, we must prepare for whatever case that's going to happen. Let's continue. Some Bantu groups live in the area when the France officially occupied it in 1885. In 1910, like I said, just 4 years before the fraudulent 1914 amalgamation, Gabon also became a territory of the French Equatorial Africa, a federation that survived until 1958. In the World War II, the Allies invaded Gabon. Do you imagine that? They invaded Gabon. The Battle of Gabon, also called the Gabon campaign occurred in November 1940 during the World War II. The battle resulted in the forces under the orders of General de Galou taking the colony of Gabon and its capital, Libreville, from Vichy, France, and the rallying of the French Equatorial Africa. They were just using Africa as if they own it. And that is why today we're so happy, especially with the current situation in Niger. This is another one in Gabon. When is there going to be the next coup? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Like I said, while some of us were sleeping, you're waking up as countries, continents. Things are changing very fast. Let's continue. Again, Gabon, in the order to overthrow the pro-Vichy France colonial administration. On 28th of November 1958, Gabon became an autonomous republic within the French community. On the 17th of August 1960, it became fully independent. The first president of Gabon, elected in 1961, just as we know in 1960, the West, the British, decided to marginalize the rest of us by fraudulently making the first election to be given to the northern part of Nigeria. That was the biggest fraud again after the 1914 amalgamation, because they knew if you allow the two southeast or the southwest to take power, they will change the mindset of the north. They will give them a proper education. They will fund that area. We will not be able to see the influx of the Fulani terrorists that we are seeing today. They will have the same education, just as the southwest and the southeast have. But today, after 63 years of the fraudulent election, Nigerians are still crying their head that election has been rigged. You better go and ask the British why the first election was rigged in 1959. Let's continue as our discussion today is focused on Gabon. As I said, if you're waking up this morning, Gabon, there's another coup in that Central Africa. Military Tigbajoba, they've taken over, and that is the latest update from the breaking news coming out this morning. Once again, my name is Koiki, and this is Koikimedia, bringing the world closer to your doorsteps as we continue to give you all the update that you need to know. I am still giving you the background of Gabon so that you can also enrich yourself with the knowledge that you don't know before. Let's continue. Now that we know that Gabon also had their independence in 1960, now they have the first president of Gabon that was elected in 1961. His name was Lionel Maba. I won't be surprised that it was the French people that put him there so that he can become their puppet, with Omar Bongo Ondimamba as his vice president. After Mumba's accession to power, let's hear this, the press was suppressed. Can you imagine? Immediately they put him there, they suppressed the press. Political demonstration was suppressed. Freedom of expression was curtailed. How can you now say you give people independence when there's already suppression of press? Political demonstration was suppressed. Freedom of expression that I am enjoying today, most of you in Nigeria will never, as many elections that you do, you will never enjoy the freedom that I am enjoying in UK. And one of the freedom is the kind of military outfit that I've just put on out today. If they burn you well, go and try this and put it on and go live in Nigeria. DSS will bust your house. You will go underground if you don't even get killed. This is the freedom that they refuse to allow you to enjoy. And this is why we are saying that we cannot continue where I can put on a military outfit that means nothing. It's just like appreciating the British soldier. Yet, freedom was removed in Gabon after the election that I'm sure was put by the puppet West from the French. Today, how old is Macron to determine our lives for those living in that part of the global world today? Let's continue. Curtail, other political parties gradually excluded from power. Can you imagine that? So, Yoruba, even Gabon was going through the same thing when the people were being, marginalized. Parties gradually excluded from power. Even the constitution changed along the French lines to vest power in the presidency, a post that Umba himself assumed himself. Can you imagine? He became a president. He put power on himself. He then marginalized every other party in that country called Gabon. When Umba dissolved the National Assembly in January 1964 to institute one-party rule, can you imagine that? This one decided to put one-party rule. Oh my God. So much is happening that we need to continue to educate many Nigerians and many Africans. This man decided to do one-party rule. An army coup sought to hoist him out from power and restore parliamentary democracy. Do you know what happened? From what I'm reading here from Wikipedia, French paratrooper flew in within 24 hours to restore Umba to power. Good morning to you, everyone, and welcome. I'm charging this phone. That is why the phone is upside down for those of you on OLAMILEKAN Instagram. If otherwise, you will not be able to enjoy it. So just bear with me the way the phone is. As long as you can hear me and you can still see a bit of my face. Shout out to those of you on our Mixer. Quite a lot of you have joined us, especially our Biafra brothers that love to listen to the real truth. Imagine in 1964, they can hear this again. One president where they put there, he can't change everything and they speak broken or make everybody understand. He can't change everything. Army can't take him out. Within 24 hours, French paratroopers, do you know what they call paratroopers? Flew in within 24 hours to restore Umba to power. This is what they are telling Bola Tinubu to do, your president, that you must take Niger back for us. Send ECOWAS soldier, even if 300 of them die, even if 1,000 people die, innocent soldiers, we want Niger back. And Mali and Burkina Faso say, if they're born on our well, make una they come. We they wait for you now. He's saying Bola Tinubu is slowing the situation down. I don't know why. I want him to go in accordance as quickly as possible so that we can see action movie in real life. Yeah, people will die, but you will know that water pass Gary, even if Nigeria has all the what it takes as under ECOWAS to invade Nigeria, you will know what they call war. We think saying a moi moi. So let's continue with this. So this man, way the president in 1961, military removal, French sent their own paratroops. They flew into that country. You know, it's a small country. And you know what happened? They restored the president back to power. After days of fighting, the coup ended and the opposition was imprisoned with protests and riots. This was all happening before me, I was born. So whatever you are seeing in Gabon today, just know that it has been happening like that. Maybe French will now send more soldiers this afternoon, tomorrow, to bring back their puppet president that have been put in there for too long, to take resources that doesn't belong to them, to make life unbearable for many people in Gabon. We will wait and see. The world is changing. There's now a new world order. When Umba, I thought say no go fit die, Olori Buruku man, he died in 1967. Then his vice president, Bongo, replaced him as president. In March 1968, Bongo declared Gabon a one-party state. Can you imagine that? The vice president will take over, continue from the same thing where the other one they do. All these bastard African leaders, I don't know why they are still, some of them today. I don't know why Eledumare cannot kill them and take them away, because these were the people working with the puppet West to destroy the real indigenous people. The vice president took over in 1968. He now declared Gabon a one-party state by dissolving the BDG and establishing a new party called PDG, which is the one in power today. So you can see that they have been in power since 1968. One party. Oh my God. What a good time to be alive to witness all this. Let's continue. Cherry Pay, this is the reason why I have to take you through the background, because if I just go through, hey, there's a coup and read that, you will not get the understanding. Now we know that there's one party system that has been in power since 1968. That was 8 years after the fraudulent independence in Nigeria. Again, Bongo replaced the president of Gabon after tí yẹn kú. Ìmí wọlé, èyí tó wọlé yẹn, ó wá ṣe tán pè ní one party system. Maybe that is what they're even going to plan in Nigeria. I don't know. They will just come up with this fraudulent constitution and say they deserve the constitution. There's going to be one party system. And I don't know. We don't know what the plan is. You think they can't do it in Nigeria? You'll be surprised. So let's continue. So he invited all Gabonese, regardless of their previous political affiliation, to participate. Bongo sought to forge a single national movement in the support of the government development policies, using his own new political party called PDG, Parti Démocratique Gabonais, as a tool to submerge the regional and the tribal rivalries that had divided Gabonese politics in the past. Bongo was elected president again in February 1975. In April 1975, the position of the vice president was even abolished. Can you imagine? And replaced by the position of the prime minister, who had no right to automatic succession. Bongo was re-elected president again in December 1979. It was again November 1986 to another 7 years term. So they now turned into a family business. Bomb bastard. You can see why Africa has never developed for a very long time. In 1990, economic and discontent and a desire for political liberation provoked demonstration. I can imagine. People will be fed up after a while, because in the 90s, more people that are, born in that era will now be asking questions. This man, you've been there for too long. You become very old. Why don't you want to go? This is what fuel, so I think somebody just sent us coffee. I hope I'm right. I had the sound. Yeah, you can support us by clicking on the coffee boat in case you want to support us. Good morning once again. Mokibu Benteti Darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Tebashe Nji, the breaking news is there's another coup in Gabon. Bashe sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí. So that is the latest news coming out of Gabon. In case you're wondering, why we're out, because even though I had to force myself to wake up, this is part of the sacrifice that we have to do. I don't have to wake up now because, but that is what makes me a freelance journalist. Sometimes you have to wake up early, sometimes you have to sleep early, and that is what makes us different from the rest of the other medias. Let's continue. So, from what we know, in the 1990 economic, that was like 3 years before Abiola wanted to become president as well. And that president never happened because they were never going to give it to him anyway. In 1990, economic discontent and a desire for political liberation provoked demonstrations and strikes by students and workers. In response to the grievance by workers, Bongo negotiated with them on a sector-by-sector basis, making wage concession. He promised to open up PDG, which is their own political party, and to organize a national political conference in March to April 1990 to discuss Gabon's future political system. How can you discuss a political system that you have already marginalized? A political system, to marginalized, they've actually turned into a one-party system. Let's continue to read through. He promised to open up the PDG and to organize a national political conference in March to April 1990 to discuss Gabon's future and political system. PDG and 74 political organizations attended the conference. Remember, we've had all this kind of conference in Nigeria, all this fraudulent conference. We had 2014. We had conference during Obasanjo, and I think during Jonathan. What has been the end of those conferences? They just put them in the dustbin, waste Nigerian taxpayers' money, put put Emir in the hotel, put Oba in the hotel, put their girlfriend there, everybody sleep with different women, they drink wine, they come out, they put agbada on, they put attire on, they put on the Catholic church after they've drank and they've drank to stoop. Girlfriends, different sex happening in different hotel room. You know, nobody can go to those upstairs because they put security there. So those women go, they know which room, they're going to room 201. They go there, Alhaji sleep with them, Imam sleep with them, Catholic sleep with them. They come back in the morning, they talk, they finish that conference, and that's the end of it. Where is all that conference? Comfort. I'm sure some of you remember all those comfort. It was just taxpayers' money that they wasted. And today, the same set of people will tell you, don't worry, Nigeria is still going to work. We are focusing on Gabon, but I'm using Nigeria as our own IMAC, which because some of us do not believe in that shit old country called Nigeria anymore. So let's continue. April 1990, the conference approved political reforms, just like the CONFAB approved political reform in Nigeria. Have they tried to do it? No, they don't want to do it because they are not honest with the indigenous people. Because they know that if they do such, the first thing is to bring down that 1999 constitution, then it will free up as many things. Why must we have people in the north to be more than people in the southeast and the middle belt and the southwest in the House of Assembly and the Senate? It's because the British rigged that election by giving censor numbers higher in the north. So when people in the north say, we are the one that is too many, tell them it's a lie. That was what the British cooked to give them that fraudulent 1959 election. So today, the people in Gabon, I'm sure they're going to be celebrating, but we'll see how it goes. Because we saw people in Niger were celebrating and supporting the military. Whether this one they will support the military, I don't know. But we will see from the news coming out from Gabon. I'm still giving you the background of this country. If you don't know the background, you will just jump into conclusion and say, the military coup is not good, it's not that. At least now we know that one party system have been running in Gabon since 1961, up to date. Let's continue. So, in April 1990, conference approved political reforms, include creation of a national senate, decentralization of the budgetary process, freedom of assembly and press, cancellation of an exit visa requirement in an attempt to guide the political system's transformation to a multi-party democracy after they've run it as a one single they've run it like a family business. Bongo resigned as the PDG chairman and created a transitional government headed by a new prime minister. Remember that we had this same transitional government, IGBOHO Fidihe Shonekon. I'm sure some of you remember Shonekon. The man don't die now. Remember Shonekon? Shonekon was the IGBOHO Fidihe, and you can see there in that picture there, Bongo with George Bush. Bush did not care whether this man was running the country like his own father business, but he welcomed him to Oval Office in May 2004, according to the picture in front of me. Hey, President George W. Bush welcomed President Omar Bongo, the same Bongo that I said that took over in 1968, turned Gabon as one country, like his family business. But America welcomed them, French welcomed them. So when people see this kind of picture now, they say, hey, white man, hey, Oyibo Pepe, Luku Pepe, Oyibo Pepe, Luku Pepe, idiot all over the place. The same Buhari that also overthrown us eventually went to America, dead or alive, we don't know. Whichever one you want to take out of it. Anyway, let's continue. So he resigned as the chairman, and he now gave it to the new prime minister, Kasima Oye Umba. That name may be like the same man who first become the president. Maybe now they think otherwise, because this Umba was the name of the first president of Gabon. So who is Kashima Umba? Let's look at his, according to Wikipedia. He was a Gabonese politician after serving as a governor of the Bank of Central Africa State, just like Emefiele, Olori Buruku. He wants to be the president, but he didn't know that Tinubu will kill his head. Say, how can you be president? Me too, I won't be president now. Emefiele won't be president. So this one was the Gabonese politician after serving as the governor of the Bank of Central Africa State from 1978 to 1990. Oye Umba was the Prime Minister of Gabon from 3rd of May 1990 to 2nd of November 1994 for almost 4 years. Subsequently, he remained the government as Minister State. Let's continue. So you have an background. Again, the Gabonese Social Democratic grouping, as a resulting government was smaller than the previous government and included representatives from some opposition parties in its cabinet. RSDG drafted a provisional constitution, which is what we have been saying in Nigeria. This constitution is not working for everybody. How can you give us a constitution that the military brought in? Some will say, no, that constitution is like 1963 with the people. They say this constitution don't work for us. May we bring up, me and you sit down when they write that constitution. May we bring down this, I think I need to go and do something cold, something hot. But let me read this because my throat, they dry kind of. So I need to go and get some kind of, journalists with a talk. I need to find a video to play for you before I can go, because it's going to take some few minutes. But let me quickly try and read this. Make sure they support us. To support us, email, PayPal, musakalam1@yahoo.com. Or you can just go on the coffee bot and just click in there and buy some coffee for us there. Or you can send it through my account in Nigeria or here in UK. And if you don't have any money to give me, just pray for me. Because there's so many enemies, especially people like us, people like Simon Ekpa. Pray for him. Because the enemy is boku. And for those of you that are planning to go to Finland and disturb the convention, you will not go back to wherever you're coming from. We will make sure that they lock you in the prison there for a very long time. So don't go to that convention and destabilize and destroy it. Stay in your cocoon wherever you are. We need real people to go there and do what is needed. I'm talking to the Biafra now because I know say they're Boko inside the Twitter space. So if you think that you want to go to Finland and destabilize, look, Finland is not like Nigeria. Yeah, they will respect human rights, but we will deal with you there. Stay away from bastards with the acts of freedom. Look at the Bongo with George Bush in 2004. The same Bongo that I've been reading, his background. Look at his picture there with his koro eyes, short man devil. Sorry for people who are short because this one's short as well. And we get one like that where they disturb us as well. Toxic Yoruba people don't get country. One bastard. Let's continue. Where are we now? Let me just jump anyway a little bit. No, I'm not going to jump. After further review, they said this constitution is not working. So they say drafted a provisional constitution in May 1990 that provided a basic bill of rights, an independent judiciary, and retained strong executive power for president. They still give executive powers to president, just like the 1999 Constitution. Some people say, hey, the 1999 Constitution that doesn't allow your governor to touch anything under the soil. Apart from we now know that Olori Buruku, Opuzodema, and Ebonyi. Is it Ebonyi? My people, which one? We now know that both of them, small pikin get iPad. They say 80% of our graduates in Nigeria, 100 million, they don't get access to, to technology. You see small children, they wake up in the morning, they get their iPad, we charge it for them, they do their athletics, they play games, they learn a lot of things. Even things with me, I don't know, my children know I'm on iPad, on bastard. How can you get iPad in Nigeria? Which internet you go use them? I have a many device turned on here, my television is turned on. Mokinja Riyami Sanjo, shout out to all our Biafra in the house. We love you so much on our own platform. If you're any Yoruba say they don't love you, they'll be born bastard Yoruba people because they know that the freedom that you are fighting for, you get it, we move as well. We move, woto. And we say kudos to the ESN that are giving them woto. Continue to make sure you fund ESN. That is what Nnamdi Kanu wants. Don't let all these bomb bastards, the Jima4 and Ifeanyi, whatever they call themselves. They are criminals. Nnamdi Kanu will never give up. And we continue to pray for him. Let's continue. We're talking about Gabon. And Tobashe, there's another coup in Gabon. So I am giving you a detailed background. You can see it's taking a lot of my time. But that is the only way you can understand.
from my iPad with the correct charger.
Alright, I will charge it for you with the first charger. Okay. I'm gonna charge my son iPad. You see, you don't come back and complain. By the time yesterday, but my body not tired. So anyway, fast charger with in another 1 hour now will be up and running. So that you see, that's imagine if I don't get light in this house, how I go charge the iPad now. Many of you live in darkness in that shit to support Biafra. I don't want Biafra. They Fulani, they cut your head. You know, some of you will never even go and live in the north anyway. So why don't you want to support Biafra? Some of you will never want to go and live in the north. Why don't you support Yoruba nation? Now, you may feel like, why would I leave Lagos State and go and live in Kano State? What's in there for Kano? No drink kumu. If I want to do business now, we involve alcohol, they go say I don't fit do that kind of business. So why would I leave my territory and go to Kano? Even if I come to Nigeria now, I would rather not stay to Kano. I will stay in Lagos State. Because what time I want to go do for Kano? And let's come back to our conversation here. Now, let's come back here. So while they were discussing all this in 1990, give us the basic Bill of Rights and independent judiciary, retain strong executive powers for the president. After further review by a constitutional committee and the National Assembly, this document came into force in March 1991. So people think that constitution is something that is big. No. Bring down that constitution, we write another constitution. In that new constitution, in that new constitution, we put the referendum clause there. Anybody wants to break up, allow them to break. But because they know that drafting a new constitution, we would put in that referendum clause in there. But they don't want that. All these are bastard Yoruba politician, Igbo politician, Hausa politician, Middle Belt, they're all fraudsters. You can see them, the lavish money, they do party, Again, if you're waking up this morning, Coup ni Gabon. So again, let me give you some of the headline that we know so far. Let me just refresh. It's now becoming almost 2 hours. Coup ni Gabon. I'm giving you the background of Gabon for the benefit of it. So again, these are the headline coming out as we know them so far. Gabon military officer declare coup after Ali Bongo wins a disputed election. This is coming from The Guardian. Al Jazeera, Gabon coup live. Soldiers have now seized power, cancel election result. Financial Times, military leaders seize power in the oil-rich Gabon. So they get Boku oil. We never even get there. BBC, army officers are they taking power? Says they are taking power in Gabon. Sky News, military announced coup in Gabon as senior officers seize power after presidential election. Gabonese military officer announced they have seized power. This is coming from Reuters. Anything coming from Reuters, just know it's true. There's no doubt about it. The Independent, gunfire heard in Gabon capital as military says it has now seized power in the coup. Euronews.com, soldiers in Gabon announced cancellation of election after Ali Bongo Odimba victory. France 24, live. So let's see if we can get a video. Let's pause a little bit on the history. I'm still going to give you more about the history of Gabon. But this is the latest coming out now. Because I don't have enough resources, I'm going to use somebody else's resources just for you to listen to. So let's go to, I believe this is Al Jazeera, and I'm going to go and do my tea, okay? Jay, everybody's okay with that. Make I go do you wait there for Twitter speech? Just give me thumbs up. So make I go do my tea, make I use the jogging. So at least this one is about 4 minutes, 49 seconds. So by the time I come back, I will then continue with the history. So make I go do tea. Shout out to all our brothers and sisters. So what you're going to be listening to now is from Al Jazeera. See they get manpower because they get a lot of journalists on the ground there. Me, I don't get journalists in Gabon. So people don't give me thumbs up. Say, Koiki, go do your tea, come back, Gary. They come everywhere. So what you're going to listen to now is what is happening in Gabon, coming from Al Jazeera. I'll be back before 4 minutes. 49 seconds. Let's enjoy this.
Senior members of the military are said to have appeared on television saying they are now in control of the country. They've also announced the cancellation of elections and all institutions have been dissolved. Gabon's Electoral Commission said that President Ali Bongo had won a third term in a controversial ballot held in the last few days. He's said to have got nearly 65% of the vote. Well, a statement has appeared on X, formerly known as Twitter, ostensibly from the military, saying, after noting an irresponsible and unpredictable governance which results in a continuous deterioration of social cohesion that risks leading the country to chaos, in the name of the Gabonese people, we, the Committee for Transition and Restoration of Institutions, have decided to defend the peace, putting an end to the regime in place. The borders now are closed. For more on this, we're going to bring in Catherine Soy, who's following developments for us from Nairobi in Kenya. Catherine, what more do you know?
Yes, I've just been talking to some people who are currently in Gabon about what is going on. There's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of tension as well. So what we know is that the army has released this statement on Gabon TV. It's a state-run TV station based within the presidency, and those who made that address are members of the army and the presidential guard as well, and they call themselves the Committee for the Transition and Restitution of the Institutions, and they say that they don't believe that the election was free, fair or transparent. They say that they also say that the Gabon government has not been respecting the will of the people for such a long time, for many years, and that has to change. And of course, this comes at a time when the election results were just announced, like an hour and a half ago, and Ali Bongo is said to have won that election by 64%, and his main competitor, Albert Odo Osa, has got 30% of the vote. But we have also been hearing from this opposition leader, and he has said that he is not going to accept those results, that they were rigged, and we also know that the internet is still shut down. It was shut down over the weekend, and curfew was imposed as well. So people are very afraid. People have been told to stay home until the situation is sorted. But like I said, people are afraid, and they're just watching whatever they can, because it's very hard for them to access and get information that they need. So the situation very, very tense indeed.
Do we have any idea, Catherine, where the President Ali Bongo is at the moment, given that he is ostensibly holding a third term as president?
Yes, we have no idea. The military or the people who were speaking on TV did not give an indication where the president is. Is he in the presidency? Is he in his presidential palace? Is he outside of the city, Libreville? So we have no idea. Things are moving very fast. But one thing, like I said, one thing we know is that we don't know where exactly is the president.
Catherine, for now, thank you very much indeed. I know you're going to be watching that situation for us. We're going to be checking back in with you. For viewers who are just joining us, we have breaking news out of Gabon. Senior members of the military are said to have appeared on TV. We think you can see the pictures in front of you there, saying that they are now in control of the country. They've announced the cancellation of recent elections, and all institutions have been dissolved. Gabon just held an election a few days ago.
Thank you so much, my people. Now you see the full image. For those of you that are not watching it, let me just give you what we have on the screen right now. We have how many military guys there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. One is holding the mic while one is reading something out. The one is reading on your right hand side. One is holding the mic on the left hand side. One, he gets his gun, he put them in front of his chest like this, maybe in case anything won't happen. And you can see the other ones there, so they're watching. Some of them, they're big man. Mhm. So I don't know whether France will send paratroops to try and restore order. We wait and see. So now that we've seen these images, let's go back to Wikipedia so that we can learn more about the background of Gabon. Good morning, good afternoon, Ugochukwu, good morning, Praise, good morning, Jinta, good morning, Afro. I'm only saying some of your little names in case I don't mention all the names. Bear with me because I don't know how to say all the names. Good morning, Oriel Lua. Good morning, Mr. Ward. I'm still going to open the mic. You know, it's still very early. The family are still sleeping out. You know, I operate from the house. So I'm trying not to raise my voice too much so that I don't wake, especially my wife, because, you know, she allows me to do what I do, but we still have to respect the family. So, but maybe at about, you know, we open the line for you to call in and speak to me. But for now, please bear with us. That's why I don't want to raise my voice, apart from the two little ones that have woke up. Omoda Milari, good morning. Mamawa Elena, good morning. And as many of you that have joined me, I say good morning from different platforms. I know a lot of you are using Simon, so I say all the Simon, good morning. Biafra, good morning. Wale, good morning. Mr. Tony, good morning. Even those of you that believe in APC, good morning. If you believe in PDP, good morning. If you're waking up, yes, there is a coup in Gabon. Golden, good morning. Mrs. Grace, good morning. I respect all our mothers, especially mothers that want freedom. No be the mother where they tell you, say, go support PDP, APC. You see also mothers in the Biafra. I see them, you know, the Biafra mothers, especially when I was going out in the protest with them. You see them that come out, you know, in their regular, just like the Yoruba mothers as well. Alan Conde, good morning. Mr. Shegun said Yoruba sovereign nation is an ideal time. It has come. Omobalaji said Yoruba, let us wake up. Now let's go back again so that we can learn more about this country. It's a beautiful continent, Africa. Gabon is beautiful, but unfortunately it's controlled by the people that are puppet to the West. And this is why we are having what we're having today. Clement, this is my brother. As he dey be here with me, he dey spend money all the time. I see when he send money through PayPal. May God bless you, Mr. Clement. We appreciate you. You know, every now and then he keeps sending, you know, his own donation through our platform, and we appreciate it. So yeah, 2.3 million is the population of Gabon. You know, not a very big population, but when you look at that population, compare it to other European country, Gabon should be doing very well, especially when we are told that they have a lot of gas and oil. We will get there. So we've got to the where they were having a new constitution. That is what we read it up to. Now let's continue. Opposition to the PDG. Remember, the PDG is their main political party that have been there since 1961. We are now talking about up to 1990. That is where we are ready to. One party has been there for that long. It's crazy. So opposition to the PDG continued after the April 1990 conference, and in September 1990, there was two coup d'etat attempts. So it is not the first time that they are having coup in that region. A coup d'etat, or simply a coup, which is what has happened right now, is an illegal, overt attempt by the military or other government elite to unseat the incumbent leader. A self-coup is when leaders have come to power through legal means. Well, Buhari was there. Nobody said anything. He came back even with Agbada, dead or alive. So this is not the first coup attempt. This is like probably maybe, I don't know, the third one. But we know that in 1990, around September, there were two coup attempts, but they were uncovered and aborted. When there's something is aborted, that means it never took place anymore. With demonstration after the death of an opposition leader, the first multi-party National Assembly election, can you imagine, in almost 30 years. Remember, we're talking from 1961. From 1960 rather, a guy named Uba, MBA, was running the government like his family business. He died in 1968. The vice president took over. The vice president is the one, then wait, the picture with George Bush was the vice president in 2004. So that means this guy has been in office for as much as only God knows. But I don't know whether he's the one that was ousted now, but we will find out, because what I've been told, what I read from another Twitter handle was that this man has hand over to the son. They turn it to family business. Born past that. Let's continue.
Yeah.
Yes? Eh? I mean what? Do you want to go and use this phone? Use this phone.
No.
You wait for your iPad. It's still not charged yet. It's still just 2%. Well, tell her to come and take this one. Call her. Come and take this phone. Give her this one. And tell her to give you the iPad. So at least I've struck things around for you guys. I'm not being it's a family house, so you have to deal with me. Especially when you have the little ones. It's not easy, but we give thanks. So let's continue. Where did I stop now? Yeah, okay, so after 30 years, they now have what they called the first multi-party National Assembly election in almost 30 years took place. I want you to be taking note of the date and the month and the year. This happened between September and October 1990. Again, with the PDG, which is their main political party from 1961, garnering a majority. Definitely, they've been in power since that time. Remember that this was the same situation in Nigeria. The military were there for a very long time. So our expectation was military go, civilian comes in 1999, which is about 24 years since we returned back to democracy. But if you look at the structure of Nigeria, it is still dominant because an average Nigerian cannot say, I want to be a governor. An average Nigerian cannot say, I want to be even a House of Reps. You still have to go through this bottleneck of these cabals. So it's almost the same thing. Even as much as we knew that from 1960 to 1990, how many years was that as well in Nigeria? That's about 30 years as well. It was a wasted time. Yesterday I was talking about South Korea. South Korea, the Babakitoye went to do a presentation in 1982, have surpassed Nigeria today. South Korea is 57 million, if I'm right with the statistics. Their life expectancy is 83.4. That means they will be 83 years old. Their GDP, and let me not say what I don't know. Their passport is number 3 in the world. We talked about it yesterday on our program. South Korea today, their GDP in US dollars is 1.8 trillion. Life expectancy is 83.43. GDP per capita is 34.997.78. Their population is 51. Their passport, according to the passport index, their passport, according to the Enli passport index, is number 3 in the world. Babakitoye was there in 1982, making a presentation when they had their first prime minister or whatever then, telling them that Nigeria has crude oil, but we also have human capacity. Imagine if Nigeria has gone on the right trajectory in 1982 till date, we would have surpassed 1.something trillion US dollars GDP. Our lifespan would probably be 100. But today, the shit old country remain backward because some nonentic want it to be like that and bring everybody to be puppet for them. So let's continue with Gabon. Following the President Omar Bongo re-election, so this is the guy. That is him there. And if you look at the picture with George Bush, Alhaji Omar Bongo Ondimba was a Gabonese politician who was the second president of Gabon for almost 42 years. 4 decades. He was the president of Gabon. Am I being because I'm charging the phone as well, the phone is flat. It was this man, then wait. This picture, some of you cannot see the picture because you're listening to it on the Twitter space. But this guy I mentioned now, named Alhaji Omar Bongo Ondimba, was a Gabonese politician who was the second president after the death of Umba. of Gabon for almost 42 years. From 1967 until his death in 2009, Bongo was promoted to key position as a young officer under Gabon first president Leonor Umba in 1960. So he died. So people like that, they can even die. His re-election in December 1993 with 51% of the vote, opposition candidate refused to validate the election result, which is the reason why there's another problem now. You remember that the reason why we're having problem today is because there's a dispute with that election as well. We will get there. I'm still giving you the background so that when you are talking, you'll not be talking like a beer parlor man. You talk like you have listened to Koikimedia because you have got fact to go and defend reason why we need to go as well. Even though we are not doing military coup, but our right to self-determination is an inalienable and must be respected by the government of Nigeria and the international community. Again, following President Omar Bongo re-election in December 1993 rather, with 51% of the vote, opposition candidates refused to validate the election result. There was what they call civil disturbance rather. Violent repression led to an agreement between the government and opposition faction to work towards a political settlement. These talks led to a Paris Accord in November 1994, under which some opposition figures were included in the government of national unity. This arrangement broke down, and in 1996 and 1997 legislative and municipal elections provided a background for renewed partisan politics. PDG, remember these are the main political party there in Gabon, won in the legislative election, and some cities, including Libreville, which is the capital city, elected opposition mayors during the 1997 local election. As Nigeria is still 2 years to return back to democracy, these ones have been fighting like mad. You can see the beauty of what technology is doing for us now. We are now understanding that, so while we are preparing for democracy in Nigeria, some have been going through the wrangling as well in other African countries. You can see why Africa is in a big deep shit. Facing a divided opposition, President Omar Bongo coasted to a re-election in December 1998. Again, they never tired. Remember, he spent 42 years there. While some of the Bongo's opponents rejected the outcome as fraudulent, some international observers, don't worry about those ones are bastard. Those international observers, they come there, they do what they write up, they do everything, they're gone. They leave you to settle your problem yourself, just like they've done in Nigeria. They write report, they're gone. It's entirely up to Nigeria to take whatever action they want to take. While some of the Bongo's opponents rejected the outcome as fraudulent, some international observers characterized the result as representative. Can you imagine that? They are saying that, many perceived irregularity. Legislative election was held again between 2001 and 2002, but were boycotted by a number of smaller opposition parties when they don't outshine them, and they were criticized for their administrative weakness. Produced a National Assembly again dominated by PDG, which is the political party in Gabon that has been there since 1961. An ally independent in November 2005. Remember that it is still one-man show. President Omar Bongo, that eventually died in 2009, was elected for his 6th term. Okay, our Christina Toluwalashe. A very good morning. If you're joining us this morning, there's another coup to the Sheleni, Gabon. I'll be telling you more about that, but more for any background of, I don't see how this man died. Their death always come like that. Let me go further. On the 8th of June 2009, President Omar Bongo died of cardiac arrest at a Spanish hospital in Barcelona. So for 42 years, Yorori Buruku could not build a hospital, just like so many of them as well in Africa. They had to rush him to Spanish hospital in Barcelona, where he died. Did you hear that? Where he eventually died. He died. because these people are wicked. They don't care about me and you. It is entirely up to me and you today to stand firm and say enough is enough. We don't have to do the coup d'etat, but we can do with our voice. We can spend our money. We can spend our time, our energy. And for those that want to do it, you must support them, especially those of us that are in the front. Support the YSDM. That is the Yoruba self-determination movement. Some of you do not have the balls. Those of us that have the balls will be out every day. Like I said, my mom just went to bed this morning. If I tell you that she is part of my media, she was the one that gave me the news that I'm giving to you right now. My mom gave me this information as early as last night. She just went to bed at 6:30 while I was preparing for the program. That is the sacrifice that some of us and our parents have to curtail in this movement. So when some of you come and start talking nonsense, some of you will probably take a course because you don't know what we have to go through. While I'm sleeping, my mom is awake, watching for news that could be of benefit so that I can come and share it with you. So news thank Bola Roy. It was my mom that told me that is a coup because she had the breaking news before me. Because she also have a Twitter account where she has also registered herself with proper platform, even up to Simon Ekpa. Yes, my mom follows Simon Ekpa back to back. But she was the one that told me about this breaking news before I even knew about it. So when some of you come and talk nonsense on my platform, I just laugh because you don't have the balls. If my mom can be doing that, you, young man, young woman, you are still waiting for somebody to come and tell you to fight for your right to freedom. I pity a lot of you. Let's continue. Again, on the 8th of June, cardiac arrest arrested that man called President Omar Bongo, Lori Brukuman, the puppet of the West. He could not even die in Gabon because he could not build a standard hospital that they would treat him. They have to fly him to a Spanish hospital. Let me see how many hours from Gabon to Spain. Olori Buruku. I'm sure they will use this kind of helicopter or private. You know, they have this jet, medical jet, Gabon to Spain. How long is it going to take you? Gabon to Spain is 9 hours. No. We're not walking. We don't want by road, by air. Fly, air. Flying time. If you go, how long is a flight from Gabon to Spain? I'm just giving you how this man died. They have to take his body all the way from Gabon on an 8 hours. So let's even say they were using a private jet. It will cut it down to probably about 6 hours. No more than that. Because private jet goes faster than the normal jet. I mean the normal Airbus or whatever they're going to be using. 8 hours, 25 minutes. Let's even cut it down to 6 hours. So they have to take a president that was there for 42 years. They have to take him to Spain for medical treatment. Just as Governor Keredolu, as we speak right now, is in Germany. Just like Buhari comes to London. Just like Tinubu goes to France. Is it not a shame for all these individuals? They can't build a hospital to look after their health. So maybe they didn't even know that one day they will. I mean, everybody can fall ill at any time, but they don't see that way. So on the 8th of June 2009, President Omar Bongo died of a cardiac arrest at a Spanish hospital in Barcelona. In accordance with the amended constitution, Rosie Francis Rugombe, the president of the Senate, became an interim president 2 days after, on the 10th of June 2009, just like they wanted to protect the death of Yaradua so that Jonathan could not become the president. Eventually, that was exposed. They wanted to do abracadabra, just like some of the Biafra believe that Buhari died anyway. So, but what makes different? Dead or alive? What makes different? History will remember some of us. Let's continue. The first contestant elections in Gabon history that did not include Omar Bongo as a candidate were now held on the 30th of August, just after the death of Bongo, with 18 candidates for the president. This is where another wahala will start. The lead up to the election saw some isolated protest. Omar Bongo's son, can you imagine, is now the ruling party leader, which I believe is the one that is still there now today. I will get there in just about a few minutes. Omar Bongo, remember the father died of cardiac arrest. Just like some of you are waiting. When their father died, they'll bring their children to come and run over you. You don't know. You think Sheyi Tinubu doesn't want to be a governor in Lagos State. He wants to be a governor so that he can have more power one day. It's just a matter of time. Big Sammy Favor, good morning, my brother. How are you, sir? Prince Adebayo Shito, good morning. Let's continue. 18 candidates wanted to contest, but there was some individuals that were more of interest, and that individual is called Omar Bongo's son, the ruling party leader, Ali Bongo Odima. Now, let me give us a bit of background of Ali Bongo, because this is the son. Remember, the father died. Ali Bongo Odima was born on the 9th of February 1959, sometimes known as Ali Bongo, is a Gabonian politician who was the third president of Gabon from 2009 until August this year. Make I remove that image of Gabon way there behind me so that you can see his face properly. Let me put it down like this, so that some of you watching on the social media, that's his face. This is the one that they've now overthrown. His father was there for 42 years. The son has now taken over from 2009 till when there is now a military coup that have now ousted him. We don't even know where he is at the moment. Maybe he don't run away. No one be like Mohammed Bazoum that they don't put under house arrest. I don't know. I'll be telling you more about that. So you can see why we are backwards in this continent. Call it tech, my brother. Good morning. I'm charging this phone. That is why it is still like that. Later on, I'm going to pull it up. You can see why we are backwards. We don't move forward. The reason why you need to know all this, so that you have a kind of a background. So when people are saying there's a coup in Gabon, you say, hey, I know, because I don't hear from Koikimedia. Say the father of this man was there for 42 years. He died of cardiac arrest in Spain, 8 hours all the way from Gabon to Spain. Lanre Lamina, good morning. Just Reason, a very good morning. Debashi NG, there's a coup in Gabon. So when I put on my military outfit like this, you know it's a serious business. Yes. I'm waiting for Niger to be attacked. Shegun or say another. I'm waiting for the screen to bring it up. I can see it here, but it's blocked. Another kleptocratic bite the dust in Africa. What an interesting time to be alive. Now let's continue. Shout out to you. I can't even see the comments of my people on the Mixlr. What happened? Where's my comment section? This thing don't give me. I don't know if you see give away the comments. I know that my people are there. How come it's not giving me my? I don't even know whether we are live there, safe. My God. Because it's not counting the hours. That's strange. What's going on there in my Mixlr this morning? Interesting. All right, let me share the link somewhere else and open it and see. Bear with me, sorry, my people. All right, so I want to share my MixLR link to my Facebook. Open it up and see if my people are there, because I can't see their comment. I can't see anything. So bear with me. I will do that. I need to do something quickly. I need to open this up. I need to be sure that I am live on the MixLR, because I can't see anything on my screen. So let's see. Once again, good morning. It's now 9:08. So if you're waking up this morning, there's a coup in Gabon. But let me open my MixLR here, see. Yeah. Okay, come Prime Minister, we day here, Koiki. Now I can say it. Mutilo Shilori, another laptop. Come Prime Minister, bongo banga. Come Prime Minister, it is time for Africa to rise and fall no more. Come Prime Minister, fire will soon consume all the bastard European countries. Allow Baba say good morning. Under which constitution will Tinubu make? Okay, I think that was yesterday. Thank you so much. There's 7 people that are listening to me on the MixLR. I love you all. Now I can see your comments after I've opened it from another laptop. So I know you guys are there. Clement say, was it the same with the party paralysis? So this guy, that is the son. Let me show you the father so that we don't mix it up. What we're gonna do right now, let's close this. So I want to show, I have a picture of it already. I think I posted a picture on my timeline. So that, you know, when things happen like this, people quickly put a lot of information out. So I was able to pick up on information on Twitter that I had the picture of the father and the son, and I think I have it somewhere here. So that is the one that died, I believe. No, let's do it this way so that we don't mix the images up. Let me do it this way. Let me go according to what I already have on the Wikipedia. So I'm going to open another Wikipedia like that. So this is Bongo, right? Now let me go back one step. And this is the father. They're resemblant. So that is, so what we're going to do, let's go and look for Omar Bongo. That is Omar Bongo. So we're going to look for Omar Bongo. Omar Bongo. So Omar Bongo is this guy. Okay? He was the one that was there for 42 years. Now, Ali Bongo is being the one that took over after the father died. So Ali, oh, you can see it's already trending on the social media, on the Google. So this is Ali Bongo. Ah, the guy don't chop. Look at the way he don't. People going to write a lot of things about him now. So I have been telling you the history. He's 64 years. So that is, I'm right. He was born in 1959 on the 9th of February. He's been in power since 2009. So now we know. So let's put the two together. Ali Bongo and Omar Bongo. So father and son. So that is the two of them there. So don't mix it up. So yeah, that means that picture was right. So that's the father and son. Because the father was there till 2009. So this is the current picture not too long ago. So I was right with that picture I was showing you earlier. So everybody's clear now. So we know who we are talking about. So let me just do it one at a time so that you get their faces. These are criminals that are controlling and working for French and for France. So this is Ali Bongo. This is the current president that have been ousted. This guy, okay? So this one. This is the father that was there for 42 years. Let me give you a current one. And you can see him there with some Igbo people. I think this is like one of the president of, yeah. So Omar Albert Bernard Bongo, this was a picture of him in 2009 with some Igbo people there. You can see him there. This one was the one that was there. That is the father, Babe Lile. That's the father, this man. This is the son. Ali Omar Bongo is the son. So the son is the one that is running the affair of Bongo, of why am I saying Bongo? Gabon. So at least we have an idea, the two images. So now we need to go back to Wikipedia and complete our discussion on Gabon. If you're joining me for the first time, this is called Koikimedia, where I bring the world closer to your doorstep. So I think we read it up to, we read a lot already. We're almost there. So after the father died of cardiac arrest, he came to power in 2009, August, when the election was held. I mean, because he was the party leader in Ali Bongo. So Omar Bongo's son was the ruling party leader. Ali Bongo Odimba was formally declared the winner after a 3-week review by the Constitutional Court. My T7 don't code. The court review had been prompted by claims of fraud by some opposition candidates. Saidi talks, I'm so happy with this news. Thank you so much, Mr. Tunji Agoro. Say, well done, Mr. Koiki. Well, Omabalaji say Uganda and Cameroon is coming up. Maybe you don't see vision. Maybe by the time we sleep tomorrow, we wake up with Cameroon and Uganda. So, at least everybody has a background of Gabon now, but let me complete this because I'm almost done with it. So, the citizens of Port Gantel took to the street, and some shops and residences were burned, including the French consulate and a local prison. This was after 2009. Officially, 4 deaths occurred during the riot. Gadames and the military were deployed to Port Gantel to support the Beleague police, and a curfew was ineffective for more than 3 months. A party legislative by-election was held again in June 2010. A coalition of parties, the Union Nationale, participated for the first time. Union Nationale is composed mostly of, again, PDG defectors, people that were not happy, just like they will leave PDP, they will go to APC, and they go and form the... It's just 17%. Okay? 17, yeah. 17. 17, yeah. So, in January 2019, there were also an attempt coup d'etat led by soldiers against... So it's not the first time again that they've had coup on him. There was a coup attempt in 2019, which was just 20, 21, 22, 23. So just 4 years ago, led by soldiers against President Ali Bongo, which is the current president right now. The coup ultimately failed, but it looks like this one, oh, it don't pass. Oh. It looks like this coup don't pass. Oh. Interesting time around. Mamawa Ellen Peter, a very good morning. Good morning, Tony AJs. Welcome again to every one of you on TikTok. Good morning if you're joining me for the first time. Cool. I don't know what African Union are going to do. In June 2021, Gabon became the first country to receive payment for reduced emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. In June 2022, Gabon and Togo joined the Commonwealth of Nations. Now that we've had I think I've read enough for us to understand the background. Now, there's still more to learn. Let's talk about the politics. Presidential republic form of government is stated under the 1961 Constitution. It was reversed in 1975, rewritten in 1991, reversed again in 2003. The president is elected by universal suffrage for 7-year term, instead of the one that they do 4 years in Gabon, 7 years. A 2003 constitutional amendment removed presidential term limit. The president can appoint and dismiss the prime minister, the cabinet, and the judges of independent Supreme Court. The president has other powers, such as authority to dissolve the National Assembly, declare a state of siege, delay legislation, conduct referendum. This is what is going on in Gabon. Gabon has a bicameral legislature. What does that mean? Let's look at it. The Parliament of Gabon consists of 2 chambers, the the Senate, and the National Assembly. The National Assembly has 120 deputies who are popularly elected for a 5-year term. The Senate is composed of 102 members who are elected by municipal councils and regional assemblies and they serve for 6 years. The Senate was created in 1990-1991 constitutional revision. The same constitution we have asked for revision in Nigeria, they refused, and was not brought into being until after the 1997 local elections. The president of the Senate is the next in succession to the president. In 1990, the government made changes to Gabon's political system. A transitional constitution was drafted in May 1990 as an outgrowth of the National Political Conference in March to April and later revised by a constitutional committee. Among its provisions were a Western-style Bill of Rights, creation of a National Council of Democracy to oversee the guarantee of those rights, a government advisory board on economic, social issues, and independent judiciary. After approved by National Assembly, PDG, ironically that PDG has been in power since 1961, Central Committee, and the President and the Assembly anonymously adopted the Constitution in March 1991. Multi-party legislative elections were held in 1990 to 1991 when opposition parties had not been declared formally legal. In January 1991, the Assembly passed an anonymous vote, a law governing the legislation of opposition parties. After President Omar Bongo was elected before he died in 2009 of cardiac arrest in a Spanish hospital in Barcelona, his son is the one in charge now called Ali Omar Bongo, who is now being ousted by a military coup in Gabon. So if you're waking up and you're wondering what is going on here, there's been another coup in Gabon. Obafemi on TikTok, a very good morning to you and welcome. Good morning once again to all our Twitter space listeners. I'm giving you the background so that when you are talking, you're not talking from the beer parlor part of conversation. You're talking with fact. So when people say, who is the president there? You say it's called Ali Omar Bongo. He's been there since 2009 after his father died of cardiac arrest. His father was there for 42 years. So they've actually turned Gabon to a family business. They are the puppet of the West. Let's continue. I'm just jumping a little bit. On the 20th, no, I don't want to jump up because I'm seeing natural resources there or something there. No, okay, no. In 2009, President Ali Bongo Ondimba, who is now the current president, that have now been ousted because he wants to come back again and do another election and rig it and go there. And the military say, no. We know they agree or we know they agree. Began effort to streamline the government in an effort to reduce corruption and government. Imagine somebody when Papa be there from 1967 or 68. After 42 years, he now wants to reduce corruption, just like Tinubu is going to reduce corruption from Buhari, that is not telling us how much corruption took place. They are protecting Buhari and his government. They don't use Emefiele head, break coconut. In 2009, October, President Ali Bongo Ondimba began effort to streamline the government in an effort to reduce corruption and government bloat. He eliminated 17 ministers' level position, abolished again the vice presidency, reorganized the portfolios of some ministers, bureaus, and directorates. In November 2009, President Bongo Ondimba, that has now been ousted by the military, announced a new vision for the modernization of Gabon called Gabon Emigrant. This program contains 3 pillars. Green Gabon. This TikTok will tell you violation or something. I don't know what violation. Maybe they see. I'm not showing you my number now. Why is it telling me violation? These 3 programs contains Green Gabon, Service Gabon, Industrial Gabon. The goals of Gabon Emigrant are to be diversify the economy so that Gabon can become less reliant on petroleum, to eliminate corruption, and to modernize the workforce. Under this program, export of raw timbers have been banned. A government wild censor was held. The workday has been changed to eliminate a long mid-break, and the National Oil Company was created. On the 25th of January 2011, opposition leader Andra Obama claimed the presidency, saying the country should be run by someone the people really wanted. He selected 19 ministers for his government, and the entire group, along with hundreds of others, spent the night at the United Nations headquarters. On January 26, the government dissolved Obama party because they're going to challenge him. Then, African Union Chairman Jinping said that Uber election action hurt the integrity of a legitimate institution and also endangered the peace. You see all this puppet African Union, bomb bastard. Instead of them to support the real people, they're not going to do so. Rather, they're supporting opposition. I'm going to wait for the African Union report on this. Let's continue. So they're actually criticizing the opposition, that they're saying that, I'm just explaining what that means, that the opposition is trying to bring problem into the country. The United Nations General Secretary, then, remember, that guy, Ban Ki-moon, said that he recognized Ondimba as the only official Gabonese president. You can see how the word is. In 2016 presidential election was a disputed. So they've been having dispute in Gabon for a very long time. Mukibabawa Mubarak Idris, Mukiawa Sekinat, and good morning to you as well, man. Protests again broke out in 2016 in the capital, but again, as usual, they were met with repression, which culminated in the alleged bombing of opposition. Imagine they bombed the opposition party headquarters by the presidential guard. Do you hear what I said there? They bombed opposition party headquarters. Between 50 to 100 citizens were killed by security forces. 1,000 were arrested. They are doing all this not because of the people. They are doing it because of the puppet of the West. So I won't be surprised that what we are seeing today with the military coup is part of what has happened in Gabon. The country's Supreme Court threw out some suspect precincts, and the ballots have been destroyed, just like they were stealing ballot boxes during the election in Nigeria in February. The election was declared in favor of the incumbent. Guess what? The same Ondimba Ali Omar Bongo Ondimba. Good morning to you, Mr. Diolu. The election was declared, and good morning once again to those of you that are joining us on the Twitter space. If you're just joining us, there's a coup, as I speak to you right now, in Gabon. The election was declared in favor of the incumbent. The European Parliament issued 2 resolutions denouncing the unclear result of the election and calling for an investigation on the human rights violation. What are they going to tell you anyway? Now let's talk about the foreign relation. Since independence, Gabon has followed a non-aligned policy, advocating dialogue in international affairs, recognizing each side of the divided countries. In intra-African affairs, it espouses development by evolution rather than revolution and favors regulated private enterprise as a system most likely to promote rapid economic growth. In favor itself in mediation effort in Chad, the Central African Republic, Angola, the Republic of Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, Burundi. In December 1999, through mediation effort of President Bongo, a peace accord was signed in the Republic of Congo-Brazzaville between the government and most leaders of the armed rebellion. President Bongo was involved in the continued DRC peace process and played a role in mediating the crisis in Ivory Coast. Gabon is a member of the United Nations, so that means is a sovereign nation. And some of its specialized and related agencies, and also of the World Bank, the IMF, the African Union, the Central African Customs Union, and Central African Economic and Monetary Community, EU and ACP, associate under the Lome Convention, the Cumulate Financial Africaine, CFA. I'm sure you know that money. The same money that people are complaining about in Niger, CFA. He's also one of the members of the Organization of Islamic Conference, OIC, the Non-Aligned Movement, the Economic Community of Central African States, ECCAS. In 1995, Gabon withdrew from the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries called OPEC. Rejoining again in 2016, Gabon was elected to a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council for January 2010 through December. When they say they put them under that Security Council, it's because they are leaking the hearts of the West, okay? Maybe you don't know that. So any African country that is part of this Security Council is because they must listen and follow what the puppet West is telling them, whether it's America, European countries, or any other one of those, so that they can always vote in favor of whatever America is doing. They will always have to vote in favor of whatever Britain wants to do in United Nations. So that is why they probably put them there. Now let's look again at the military. It has a professional military of about 5,000 personnel divided into Army, Navy, Air Force, Gendarmerie, and Police Force. A 1,800 member guard provides security for the president. They don't overthrow the president now. The president, we don't even know where he is. So that I've given you as much of the background. It is divided into 9 provinces, which has a subdivided into 50 departments. The president appoints the provincial governors, the prefect, and the sub-prefect. So the president is so powerful. He decides who becomes and who does not become. Geography, yeah. It is located on the Atlantic coastal of Central Africa, on the equator between latitude 3 north and 4 south, longitude 8 and 15 E. Gabon has an equatorial climate with a system of rainforest, with 89.3% of its land area are forested. There are coastal plains ranging between 200 and 300 kilometers, 10 to 190 miles from the ocean shore. The mountain, the crystal mountains of the northeast of Libreville, the shallow. This program will come to an end at 10 o'clock, so I think we've done justice to it. So I'm just going to move swiftly. So economic-wise, oil revenue constitutes roughly 46% of the government budget, 43% of the gross domestic product. Okay, I'm coming. 81% of the export. Oil production declined from its higher point of 370 barrels per day. In 1997, some estimators suggest that Gabonese oil will be expanded by 2025. Planning is beginning for an after-oil scenario. The grounding oil field was discovered in 50-meter, 160 feet water depth, 40 kilometers, 25 miles offshore in 1971. Produces from the Bantaga sandstone of Mastician age, forming an atelitic salt structure, which is about 2 kilometers, 1.2 mile deep. Overspending on the Trans-Gabon Railway, the CFA France devaluation of 1994, period of low oil prices caused debt problem. Successful International Monetary Fund (IMF) mission have criticized the Gabonese government for overspending on off-budget items in good years and bad, over borrowing from the central bank and slipping on the schedule of privatization. Administrative reform. In September 2005, Gabon successfully concluded a 15-month standby arrangement with the IMF. A 3-year standby arrangement with the IMF was approved in May 2007 because of the financial crisis and social development surrounding the death of President Omar Bongo, the one that died of cardiac arrest in Barcelona in 2009. Gabon was unable to meet its economic goals under the standby arrangement in 2009. Gabon oil revenue have given its per capita GDP of $8,600. A skew income distribution and poor social indicators are evident. The richest 20% of the population earn over 90% of the income, while about a third of the Gabonese population lives in poverty, just like Nigeria. Once again, as we are still giving you the background of Gabon. The economy is dependent on extraction. Before the discovery of oil, logging was a pillar of the Gabonese economy. then logging and managing mining are the next most important income generators. Some exploration suggests that the presence of the world's largest exploiter, iron ore deposit, for some who live in the rural areas without access to employment opportunity in an extractive industry, remittance from family members in urban areas of substantive activities provide income. Foreign and local observers have lamented the lack of diversity in the Gabonese economy, factors that have limited the development of the new industry were listed as follows. The market is small, about 1 million, dependent on import from France. Everything is just the same like Benin Republic. Everything has to be imported. Unable to capitalize on the regional market, entrepreneurial zeal not always present among the Gabonese. A fairly regular stream of oil rents even if it is diminished. Further investment in agriculture or tourism sector is complicated by poor infrastructure. Some processing and service sectors are largely dominated by a few prominent local investors. At the World Bank and the IMF, since the government embarked in the 90s on the program of privatization of state-owned companies and administrative reform. Ethnic groups. Gabon has 40 ethnic groups, just like the Nigeria has 351, including the Fang, the Mayan, the Puton, the Nazebi, Taka Mamba Kota, Akala. They are indigenous Pygmy peoples, the Bongo and the Bakar. The latter speak the only Bantu language in Gabon. More than 10,000 native French live in Gabon, including an estimated 2,000 dual nationals. I'm sure they'll be making arrangements to evacuate them as quickly as possible. Some ethnicities are spread throughout Gabon, leading to contact interaction among the groups and intermarriage. So, according to the cities of Gabon population, this is 2003 census. Libreville has 538,195. In 2013, they have 703,940. In Port-Gentil, in 2003, they had 105,000. It has gone up to 136,462. Franceville, in 2003, they had 103,084. Now they have 110,568. Owando had 51,661 in 2003. In 2013, they now have 60,685. I'm doing it more swiftly. Language, French. French is the sole official language. They took away their own native language and give them French. It is estimated that 80% of the population can speak French, and 30% of liberal residents are native speakers of the language. Nationally, a majority of the Gabonese people speak indigenous languages according to their ethnic group, while this proportion is lower than in the most other sub-Saharan African countries. By 2013, census found out that 63.7% of Gabon population could speak Gabonese language, broken down by 86.3% in the rural areas and 60.5% in the urban area. Just the same thing, they remove our own language. So Yoruba more and speak English. Religion. Religions practiced in Gabon include Christianity, Roman Catholicism, and Protestantism, Islam, and traditional indigenous religious belief. Some people practice elements of both Christianity and indigenous religious beliefs. Approximately 79% of the population are 53% of Catholic practice one of the dominations of Christianity. 10% practice Islam, mainly Sunni. The remainder practice other religion. Health. A private hospital was established in 1913, a year before the fraudulent amalgamation. By 1985, there were 28 hospitals, 87 medical centers, but yet the president died in Barcelona of a cardiac arrest. I'm just moving forward swiftly. Culture. A country with preliminary oral tradition until the spread of literacy in the 21st century, removed by the French colonial era. It has a folklore and a mythologic Rankotor are working to keep traditions alive, such as Mevit among the Fangs and the Iguala among the Nazabis. It features international celebrity marks such as the Gotang Fang, the reliquary figures of the Kota. Each group has its own set of masks used. They are used in ceremonials such as marriage, birth, funerals. Traditionalists work with the rare local wood and other precious materials. Music, it has an era of folk styles, imported rock and hip hop from US and UK in Gabon as rumba, makossa. Some folks instruments include obala, ngobi, balafon, and the drums. So you can see how the Gabonese cuisine is influenced by the French cuisine. Remove your own culture food and let's eat French cuisine. Sport. The Gabon national team has represented the nation since 1962. The under-23 football team won the 2011 CAF Under-23 Champions League Championship. Qualified for the 2012 London Olympic, Gabon were joint host along Equatorial Guinea in 2012 African Cup of Nations and also the sole host of the competition in 2017. The Gabon national basket team, nicknamed Les Pasteurs, finished 8th at the Afro Basket in 2015. Gabon has competed at the most Summer Olympics since 1972. His Olympic medalist Anthony Obama won a silver medal in Taekwondo at the 2012 Olympic held in London. Gabon has a recreational fishing and is considered the best in the world. Wildlife. Gabon has a large number of protected animal and plant species. The country's biodiversity is one of the most varied on the planet. Fauna of Gabon. Gabon is home to 608 species of birds, 98 species of amphibians, between 95 and 160 species of reptiles, 198 different species of mammals in Gabon. There are rare species such as Gabon pangolin and the grey neck rockfowl, or endemics such as the Gabon guano. The country is one of the most varied and important fauna reserves in Africa. It is an important refuge for chimpanzee because of the forestry there, whose number in 2003 was estimated to be about 27 to 64,000. They have about 35,000 of gorilla recorded in 1983. The gorilla and the chimpanzee study station inside the Lopa National Park is dedicated to their study. It is also the home to more than half a population of African forest and elephant, mostly in Mukamba National Park. Gabon national animal is the black panther. Flora of Gabon, more than 10,000 species of plant, 400 species of trees from the Flora Gabon. Gabon rainforest is considered the densest and the most virgin in Africa. However, the country enormous population growth is causing heavy deforestation that threatens this value ecosystem. You can see why we can never have stability in Africa, because Africa is that place. So this is Ali Bongo, was re-elected as the country president for the third term, but the military have said, no, 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 we are not interested in this guy. And this is why we say things are moving very fast. So now I'm just going to read this quickly. A group of senior officers have announced a coup in Gabon following the country's presidential election result. They appear on the national TV channel Gabon 24, declaring they were seizing power following President Ali Bongo's victory. Nearly a dozen soldiers say they represent all security and defense forces in Central African nation, adding that the election results were cancelled. All borders have now been closed until further notice and the state institution has been dissolved. There were sounds of gunfire were also reported in the Gabonese capital, Libreville, on Wednesday morning today. The officers said, in the names of Gabonese people, we have decided to defend the peace by putting an end to the current regime. Mr. Bongo reappointment would have continued the family 56-year grip on power of the resources-rich but poverty-hit nation. His father, Omar Bongo, I've given you the background, was his president from 1967 until he died in Spain of cardiac arrest in Barcelona in 2009. Concerns about the transparency of the election have included the suspension of foreign coverage, authorities' decision to cut internet access, and the imposition of a nationwide curfew following the poll. So you can see this is the latest development coming out of Gabon as we speak this morning. I hope you've enjoyed our transmission. If you have done rather, you can also support our media organization so that we can always continue to come out and give it to you as it's breaking. Washington Post also say Gabon army officers announce seizure of power after presidential vote. As you can see, a group of senior military officers in Gabon said Wednesday that they have now overturning the result of the presidential election minutes after the election committee announced that President Ali Bongo had won another term. So this is what is breaking right now in Gabon. I've given you as much in-depth, as much information, and as you can see there, the video is now in circulation. There will be different analyses. I have done my own best from our own end. And that, again, is BBC showing you the video of the military officer taking over.
Au nom du peuple gabonais et garant de la protection des institutions, avons décidé de défendre la paix en mettant fin au régime en place. À cet effet, les élections générales du 26 août 2023 ainsi que les résultats tronqués sont annulés. Les frontières sont fermées jusqu'à nouvel ordre. Toutes les institutions de la République sont dissoutes.
Well, God hear what they're saying. I don't know what they were saying there. But all I can say to us is that at exactly 2 hours, 19 minutes into this broadcast, we'll be bringing this transmission to an end. The breaking news that is still breaking, and it continues to break as long as they've not overturned it, that it was just a joke. As I appreciate everyone that have joined us, I hope you would also appreciate what we do by also supporting the independent media, as we say. As I say thank you so much to every one of you that have joined. And for those of you that would like to, support what we do, I will share the link of how you can do so. Very, very easy. We will share it out in just about a few minutes. And that way, you can also support what we are doing. So we're also going to tweet it out for those of you that would like to contribute to the support, what you have enjoyed and what you are still enjoying when it comes to the media. Wherever you are, we say thank you so much. Mukiyawa Bosede, when is Nigeria youth are going to wake up with all that is happening in other African countries? Idewu Michael, good morning to you. Kenny Bright, all the way, good morning to you, my brother. I'm just seeing some of your comments, some of you. Mr. Boye say, while is African language, clear indication that African leaders and politicians are not honest and treating their citizens as slaves and idiots. Too bad. People has the right to take back their lives. Slavery should be stopped in Africa. Africa is for all Africans. Enough is enough. Taufik Kadri, good morning. Ibrahim Akanji, good morning. Majid Ibrahim, good morning. Tiamio, good morning. Dennis, Dayo Babawa, Omitek, good morning. Tony Ages, good morning. Fatai Dabiri, good morning. Olariwaju Olaleko, good morning. And again, for those of you that would like to support and contribute to what we do, the link is already now in the comment section. All your contributions are voluntary. Remember that. You're only supporting the media. It has nothing to do with the movement. We always have to make sure we clear that for those that are supporting. If you want to support and donate to the movement, you can do that through the YSDN website. But if you're supporting us, you're supporting us based on the fact that you know that you're supporting an independent media. Remember also to follow us on our Twitter handle, is Koikimedia. You can also follow us on all our social media handle. Most importantly, we are not going to be coming live anymore on Koikimedia on Star Radio. We will only be coming out on our backup channel. If you don't have the backup channel, you'll be watching a repeated after the Star Radio. We want to encourage you to go and support Yemi Fatoke, my brother. Thank you so much. A lot of you are not following the backup channel, and that means that Nile will Star Radio live anymore for now until we see some kind of changes there. If we don't see changes, we will continue to stream live only on WD76 Media, which is the only way you can watch the Star Radio. I'll be back at 11 o'clock. I gotta go now. As you can tell that the children are already need my attention. And on that note, To all our Twitter space listener, thank you so much. And if you're also joining me for the very first time, I say thank you so much for being part of the program. Ismaila Ajadi Subaru, Joseph Daniel Ganioloyede, and anyone that we didn't mention, do not be angry or upset. Just remember Mukiawa, Susan Awoniyi as well. We cannot mention everybody's name, but we appreciate each and every single one of you for being part of the program this morning. And on that note, that is where we can end it. I have to go now, but I'll be back for more updates later on. If you want to support, I do not own a Nigerian telephone number, but I have a First Bank where you can also chip in. And if you don't have anything to chip in, just pray for me. That itself goes a long way. My name is FOLAYEMI Koiki, the CEO of Koikimedia, an independent freelance journalist, also an activist, one that believes that the right to self-determination is not a crime, and that must be respected by the international community. Moki, our great solution to the rest of you. And on that very beautiful morning, enjoy the rest of the morning. Join me at 11 o'clock on WD76 Media or on the Star Radio UK network. And on that note, we hope, as we are seeing that development coming up in that part of the globe, I don't know what is going to happen, but I can see the world is changing, and it's changing very fast on us. And those of you that are not prepared for the new world, well, I wish you the best of luck, because the new world is already with us right now. And as we say, Nigeria is also at the verge of breakup. Whether you like it or not, it will break when it's ready to break. Bye for now.